One of the purposes of the executive committee is to act when the full board isn't able to convene to take care of business that can't wait for the next full board meeting. So an executive committee generally meets in between board meetings. That's part of its purpose. So there may be a contract or a real estate deal that has to be approved in a timely manner. The power may have been appropriately delegated in the bylaws to the executive committee, and they're able to execute that action in between board meetings as needed. Executive committees have a lot of advantages, but there are some concerns about how they're used too. Executive committees are, I think, an essential thing to establish, so that should there be an urgent matter that comes up in between board meetings, there is a properly charged body that can deal with those matters in between board meetings. However, if you have a large board, some institutions have gotten in the habit of relying on the executive committee to do some of the most important work of the board. So the executive committee might meet 6 times a year and the full board meets 3, and it ends up that the executive committee is the inside group. They're the ones that are best informed. Those are the folks that feel like they are really making the most important decisions for the institution, and in fact the agendas are set up that way. There isn't a long time frame, there isn't good planning, so that the important matters are scheduled to come up at full board meetings. The executive committee is relied on to take care of some of the most important work of the board. So why is that a problem? Well, if you're not a member of the executive committee, you may feel disenfranchised, like maybe your service on the board isn't taking full advantage of what you have to offer, that you're not part of the in crowd, that a small group is really running the most important work for the board, and your service is less important. So it kind of disenfranchises the rest of the board. Becoming too reliant on an executive committee, I think, is a mistake. One rule of thumb is the executive committee shouldn't meet more often than the full board meets. So that's one way to check, geez, if we're meeting 3 times a year and the executive committee is meeting 6 to 8, maybe you should take a look at your board structure, how you're planning the agendas for the board over the course of the year, and whether you're planning adequately. If you're really having to rely on the executive committee, maybe you're not staying on top of the work of the board well enough to plan and inform board meetings so that the full board can take advantage of the meetings that it does have to affect the work of the board. I think that sometimes boards realize themselves that they have a problem when an executive committee is taking on most of the responsibilities of the full board, and they may be able to meet among themselves and figure out how to make that change. They may have a change in board leadership or president too that has a different concept of how a board should work that helps make that change. Other times it's useful to bring in a consultant from outside to look at the work of the board and consider alternatives, help educate all board members about their responsibilities so they're better able to take on those responsibilities and fulfill them. And that's something AGB has helped a lot of boards with as well, by providing a consultant for a retreat, to have a conversation and educational program about basic roles and responsibilities, and to look specifically at the way that board organizes its work and how it might do it more effectively in a way that's more satisfying for board members and that accomplishes the goals, the agenda for the board in a better way.